We have an announcement. The announcement.
Première édition du Paddle Sport Show ici à
I can start again if you like. Guten Morgen aus Lyon. Heute ist der letzte Messetag. Wir sind hier am Stand von Red Paddle Co. Und wir konnten schon mal schauen, es gibt einige richtig interessante Neuigkeiten. Neben mir steht George von Red Paddle Co. Er wird euch jetzt dann gleich so die Highlights zeigen für das nächste Jahr. Und thank you, George, that you're our host today and now the showmaster. And we are very excited what you will show us. So it's up to you.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on board. Yeah, I mean, fantastic to be here, and I think when you look around the show today, it's fantastic to see so many people getting into the sport, you know, so many competitors, so many brands out there now and getting people on the water, which is great. But here at Red, we've been doing it a long time. In fact, back in 2008, we were the very first inflatable brand in Europe to be making these boards, and only the second in the world. And so this is a piece of history here. We're going to do a very quick timeline. So back in 2008, this is one of the very few bags that is still around from that time. And it's a drawstring opening, you know, basic backpack system. But at the time, this was cutting edge technology. You know, there was no inflatable boards out there. Paddleboarding wasn't even really a thing. But at Red, we didn't want to compromise on that performance. So we wanted to be able to pack it down nice and small and allow you to travel. But then that concept developed obviously over time. So now we start to move to 2013. And this was the very first backpack that had wheels incorporated on it. And now it's kind of difficult to believe that any paddleboard brands don't have wheels on their bag, but this was the first backpack of its kind that we introduced onto the market. And as well as that, we also integrated some really nice big padded backpack shoulder straps, as well as a waist belt, which means that it allowed you to really get out there on an adventure and go that bit further and start to explore. And then we continue to evolve the package, and it's really important that your experience on the water is matched by the experience that you also have on land. So how you get to and from the water, how you pack up the board, how you pump up the board. And this is where the all-terrain backpack came in. So we're now thinking 2015-16. This is the ultimate in terms of transportability and durability. So it's super rugged design, ripstop fabric, big chunky grab handles on every surface of the bag. Really, it's called double bonded nylon stitching. So what they make for making sails, racing sails for sailing boats. Super durable double stitched seams. So it just means that we were designing these bags to take the weight of the boards, but also to go on traveling with. So to get on planes, to get on trains, to go in cars. It also had a stowable backpack system on the back. So it was fully stowable inside, and you had these big padded straps inside the back of the bag, which you could then untuck and use as a full backpack system, as well as still being wheeled. So then it's about what's coming for 2022. How can we innovate this process and make it even easier for people to get out on the water? And that's where the new 2022 all-terrain backpack transformer comes in. And this is a 3-in-1 bag. So this comes now with all of our 2022 range. And as you can see, there's some things you can do with it. It's super versatile. So if you would like to use it as a straight up backpack like we've seen in previous years, you have this full backpack mode. So main bag with wheels on the front, backpack system on the back, nice and comfortable soft brush cotton straps to make it nice and comfortable when carrying. But also, if you're going on a longer adventure, or maybe you're just going to the beach for the day or down to a lake for the day, and you want to leave your bag nice and dry, you want to leave it nice and clean in the car, you can fully remove the backpack system to create this sling, this lightweight carry sling. So you can put the bag, the board, the paddle and the pump all inside this sling, simply put it on your shoulder and it carries it nice and easily around the place. What that means is when you are down at the water's edge, you can roll it up and make a super small pack size, so you don't have to take the main bulk of the bag and you don't have to worry about that getting wet. So when you get back to where you need to store it, it's nice and dry. So this whole strap system will also fit inside there, so it makes a really nice, just safe, dry storage place as well. So it's a fully transformer bag, hence the ATB transformer. Really excited to see what adventures are possible with this new bag. Now, in terms of the full package, we also have the compact range, which as you can see is half the size of a conventional SUP, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go around the stand here. So I'm going to move straight on and continue to talk about what else comes with the back boards. So we've talked about the bags. Now it's all about so you've got to the water's edge, you want to get out on the water. And we believe that you need to have the stiffest boards to get that performance. We never compromise on that element of performance, safety and reliability. And to get that, you need a really good pump. Our Titan 2 comes as standard with every single Red Paddle Co board, and it's fully compactable, so you can fold it up and it packs down super small, which makes your pack size that much smaller when you are transporting the board, but also you get double the amount of power out of this pump. So it pumps air out over 90 kilometers an hour, and it means it's half the amount of time pumping, far more time actually on the water, and actually you have much more energy just to be out there and paddling rather than tiring yourself out pumping. So the Titan 2 is a fantastic part of that experience. It also has 2 gears on it, so simply move this lever from the back to the front, and that will allow you to change between 2 gears when you're pumping. So now you've got there, you've pumped up your boards, and here's the new 2022 range, or a brief overview of those. So we have just 4 boards from the range here. And for those of you who don't know Red Paddle Co, we tried to keep the range based on what you want to do. So you have options here. You have your sort of all-round versatile boards. They're great for beginners, but they're also really good for families, people looking to take their dog on boards. And that's our nice 10-6 ride at the top here. This is the world's most popular inflatable paddleboard. It's also the board that we would always recommend if you're just unsure of what board to go for, because at 10'6" it has really nice glide and speed, it paddles really well, but it's also nice and stable at 32 inches wide. But the key ingredient to making that all work is its thickness. So at 4.7 inches thick, it's one of the only 10'6" boards on the planet that is that thickness. And what that means is any thinner, you get quite a bendy performance. It's not necessarily giving you that really nice, stiff, stable performance on the water that you need. Any thicker, so 6 inches thick, it becomes unstable, you have a higher centre of gravity. So that 4.7 inches thick is a key ingredient to success. Then moving down, we have our sport range. So these are great for if you're wanting to develop your paddling, go that little bit faster. You can see it has a slightly more drawn out nose shape here, so you're going to be gliding a little bit more. They also come in slightly narrower sizes, so it means that while staying stable, they have more hydrodynamic shape, so they're going to be going a bit faster on the water. This year our 11 foot comes in this new purple colourway, as well as our 11.3. So we have an 11, 11.3 and a 12.6, both in blue and purple. So all of our sport boards come with our patented RSS stiffening, so rocker stiffening system, which are some rods that's inserted down the side of the board really easily, about 1 psi, and they deliver even more stiffness. So they can increase the stiffness by up to 40%. And then moving down the range here, you have your Voyager range, and these are the ultimate in terms of cruising boards, especially if you're looking for multi-day trips, but also if you're just looking to go that little bit further, that little bit faster, and you want boards for a range of conditions, so rough, wavy conditions, or super flat, calm days. The Voyager give you that ultimate in terms of glide. This year, new for 2022, we have our 12-foot Voyager, and this is the first board over 11 foot that we've made at 4.7 inches thick, so it's designed for those slightly lighter riders. So if you're about 75 kilograms, 80 kilograms or under, this board is going to be absolutely perfect for you in terms of delivering a really nice agile feeling on the water, but also actually when you're on land, it's a slightly less bulky board to carry, so it means that you can maneuver it that much easier. It's nice and light when you're carrying it. It's 28 inches wide, 12 foot long, but also you have this V hull at the front. So it's like a boat-shaped V which cuts through any chop, cuts through any waves, breaks surface tension on the water. And when you combine that with the underside of this board, you can also see we have a twin fin setup. So this twin fin setup at the back of the board here means that you can have 2 fins. It also means that the fins can be smaller, so you can get into shallower water. When you're on the land, it allows you to load the board up and it stays nice and stable because you've got the 2 fins there, so you can load up all your luggage nice and centrally on the board. And then finally on the tail there, you have our quick release speed tail. So that just allows the water to run off the tail of the board rather than following the curve of the tail of the board there. So it's really a triple threat. You have the V hull at the front cutting through any chop, waves and wake. You have the tracking, so you can go in a nice straight line for longer with your twin fins, and then you have that quick release at the back. When you combine that with the dimensions, it's a very, very quick board and fantastic for riders looking to explore a little bit further afield. We then have our 13.2 and 12.6 Voyagers, which are our 5.9 inch thick boards that deliver that real stiffness for heavier riders, or if you're taking a lot of cargo, a lot of luggage for multi-day trips, that's going to give you that real far-reaching board. So there you have the bags, the pump and the boards. Now we're going to talk about paddles. Okay, good. So we're going to talk about paddles. So here at Red we make our paddles in 3 constructions. So you have your cruiser, you have your hybrid, and you have your prime. So cruiser is a glass fiber paddle. You then have your hybrid, which is a mix between glass fiber and carbon, and then you have your 100% carbon, your prime paddle. Depending on what you're looking for and depending on your ability, ultimately the higher spec your paddle, the more power you're going to get out of it, the more speed you're going to get out of it to be able to go that little bit further and get the most out of your days on the water. So if you can, I'd always recommend going for that slightly better paddle, because that's going to be your real engine. Now with the paddles for 2022, we've tried to design these to be as intuitive as possible when you do get them out of the bag. Maybe you haven't paddled in a while. To put these together, we've color-coded both the segments that go together. So this is a 3-piece paddle. You've got a color-coded clamp on there as well, so it all blends in nicely. And on the back you have a top hat washer around your push pin. That removes any vibrations that you might get whilst paddling. If you're pushing that push pin, I can take the paddle apart. And new for 2022, we have this new leash tether system inside. Just means that when you do buy this paddle, if you're brand new to paddle boarding, it does allow you to simply pick it up, put it together exactly like you would if you were to have been paddling all your life. You won't, you won't stand out on the beach. If you do want to remove that, it's also fully designed for disassembly. So you can take that out, you can easily undo that rope and just use it as a straight up paddle as well. And then moving to the top of the clamp, we have our anti-twist system. So if I undo my clamp, we have a groove in here in our carbon handle, and that means that you can always align the handle with the blade when you're adjusting your height. But also, we want to make it as easy as possible to be able to maintain your gear, to give it as long a life as possible. And that's the number one thing with all of our products. We want you to buy a product that you'll be able to use time and time and time again for countless numbers of years. And so we make everything serviceable on our Titan pumps, on our bags, on our paddles and on our boards. The number one thing that happens with all paddles in the world is if you're down at a shore side, down near the lakeside or beach, you can get some mud or some sand onto this handle as you put it together. That goes in and it grinds down to form quite a fine paste. Anyone who's been paddling for a long time knows about this. It happens all the time. What we've done here is this clamp's actually not glued. It works on what we call an interference fit. So if I push this up with my 2 thumbs, I can lift it up, and it means that you can then start to twist this handle and break down that silt build-up, and you can work it out. It also means that if you, for any reason you need to maintain this clamp or you need to replace a part of this clamp, you can easily remove it, carry out that maintenance and put it back on just as easy as that.
Wow, that's a real cool feature, George. So I'm very excited about this, because we also know that if you're on a beach or even on a river sandbank, you got the problem with the sand inside. Yeah, that's really nice. And you told us that it's all these parts you can get afterwards for service. So that's really cool, because then you can use your paddle longer time, and it's environmental friendly more.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think it's so important that we are making products that can be serviced. And if you from the bike world, for example, into mountain biking and things, you can service your bike year after year after year and keep it going for many years. It's the same with paddleboarding, and actually there's not many companies who do have available spares, parts, and we make it's absolutely part of our ethos as design. We want to make boards that will last as long as possible and products that have the smallest warranty rate. And if there's a warranty rate there, you have an issue, you can easily service that product to get it back up and
That's really great, and that's outstanding, I think. So
yeah,
cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Also, another thing, a part of our eco policy is you'll see behind me we've got our fins. All of our products that we try to make are pure material, and that's another real key part. So if something's pure, it can be reclaimed, it can be recycled. Whereas when you start to mix compositions, then that's when it starts to become a more complex issue in terms of being able to recycle. So with our fins, with our RSS patterns that go down the side of the boards, they can easily put in household recycling. If at any point in many years to come, you do want to switch those out and replace them for a new looking fin or whatever it might be, they're 100% recyclable as well. So before we move away from boards, I just want to show you one last brand new board for 2022. Follow me. Great. So here we have it. I just wanted to quickly talk you through the compact range for 2022. So about 3 years ago, we were the first company to launch our brand new internationally patented 9/6 compact board, and that was really a next generation in terms of we had to go back to the drawing board. All of our design, now over 15 years of design of these inflatable boards, were pulled upon and drawn upon to design this board. We had to go back to the raw material weave to make it a super high density weave to allow it to be super malleable, so you can fold it in half, and that ultimately means that we can pack the board, which is half the size of a conventional paddleboard. Now, the moment we launched the 9/6, everyone said, "Now that's great. Can you do this for longer boards, a touring board? Can we make it a full-size adventure board that means that we can really get out there and explore harder to reach lakes, inaccessible places?" To begin with, it was a no. But a few years on now, and for 2022, we have the all-new 12-foot compact. So this is, as you can see, an out-and-out touring board. Nice long drawn-out shape, really nice speed and glide. It's 32 inches wide, so it's super stable with excess kit on it if you do need to take luggage or cargo when you're touring. You've got your cargo bungee systems at the front, and also D-rings to be able to attach things like our dry bag and deck bag at the front there. You have various portage carry handles on the side, central carry handle, which is offset, and that offset handle is actually really nice for numbers of users. So it doesn't mean that you carry it from either side if you want your handle slightly lower if you're a taller person, or if you want your handle slightly closer to you if you're a slightly smaller person as well. So it makes it nice to carry. These boards are super light in terms of construction, but also give you that durability and that stiffness that you need when you're traveling. The 12-foot compact in itself has to be an adventure bag board, and so we've created a bag to deliver that purpose. So the 12-foot now comes in its all-new purpose-built compact bag. This is slightly different to the bags that come with the 9/6 and the 11-foot, and as you can see, the zip actually comes up and all the way around the back. What that means is it's really easy to be able to unpack and inflate this board. You can unzip it all the way down to the base of the bag, fold that out and get the board out. But also, if you're in a hurry, if you've just come in from a long paddle, maybe it's cold, maybe the weather's turned, whatever it might be, it means that you can actually roll the board up like a conventional SUP without folding it in half. You can place it in there and use the compression straps on the side to be able to have a quick exit out somewhere. So if you need to run for a train because you've enjoyed the scenery too much and you suddenly realise that your train that you're meant to catch is just coming to the station, you can roll it up, put it in there, and then pack it down into half the size later on. So you've got flexibility in how you use this. And as well, because this is all about adventure, you've got ultimate stash pockets on the side for bottles and any accessories that you may want to take when you're out there paddling on the water. Finally, this whole package comes with our 5-piece carbon nylon paddle, so our Prime Tough paddle. That's a 5-piece section, all with top hat washers to avoid any free play and tolerance in there. Nylon blades, super durable, so if you are out there adventuring in rocky shores, you don't have to worry about any damage to your paddle there, but you do have that carbon shaft to give you that nice stiff performance, as well as your lever lock adjustment system with an easy adjustment system on the fly there in the handle. So there you have it, pretty much the whole Red Paddle Co 2022 range in a real snapshot. So hopefully that helps. And
yeah, that sounds really great. So we tested the 11 one last winter, and we were very surprised that these compact boards are very fast. So we had on Voyager and the compact, and we said, wow, they are nearly the same speed. So we're very surprised about this, and we know that some people are taking their boards for public transport, or even for city trips, or go hiking with them and then go to the smaller alpine lakes or something else like this. So I think that's a cool invention, especially, and we know that some people are asking for longer shape, and cause they are more running, and even maybe their rider is a little bit heavier, so that's a cool invention. And even the bag is really great, so you have everything stuffed in and everything with you, and even the opening, so it can vent. You could put it in a wet conditioner and something like that. Exactly. Really great. Thanks, George, for be our host. Thanks for showing us the news for next year, and we are very excited when we can test paddle the stuff. And let's go. Really cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Weitere Interviews mit Herstellern bringen wir auf unseren YouTube-Kanal, also schaut öfters mal vorbei. Ihr wollt keine Neuigkeit verpassen? Dann abonniert unseren YouTube-Kanal oder schaut bei uns auf dem Blog vorbei. Natürlich freuen wir uns über jedes Daumen hoch von euch.